'em up, lay it down just like Matt and Mari. Wrestling liver RHAPUp's gonna make it sorry. Feeling like The Rock cause I'm driving in Ferraris. And we coming every week and it's feeling like a party. Moolah Ric Flair, huh? Showing out like Bianca Belair, huh? Best podcast, flush it in the air, huh? Roman Reigns and we win it, don't care, huh? No cap. Throw 'em up, lay it down just like Matt and Mari. Wrestling liver RHAPUp's gonna make it sorry. Feeling like The Rock cause I'm driving in Ferraris. And we coming every week and it's feeling like a party.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the Wrestling RHAPUp podcast. I'm your host, Mari Forth, and with me, as always, my co-host, the Tatum Paxley to my Ivy now, Mr. Mascot.
I love that. Oh, my favorite team. Let's go. Yes, we're here. We're diving in. Oh,
not you
Tatum.
dancing to our theme song. I love it.
Yeah, you know, Isaiah Goins, eight ball bangers. For those who really know, he one of a kind theme song. He should make every theme song for every wrestling podcast.
I agree.
It'd probably sound pretty much the same, but
it's rude.
Well, no, mostly because ours is such a banger that we love it. And also, you know, we don't want anyone else taking our theme song. Look, we know it's great. It's trademarked. Probably, maybe not. Here we are, wrestling.
Don't tell people it's not trademarked. It's gonna start.
I don't know our legal situation. I don't know our legal situation.
But we do know one person's legal situation. How are you doing this week, Matt?
I'm good. I'm tired, actually. I was in DC, then I was in Minneapolis for work, and then I'm in New Jersey now, and I go back to DC. So I'm tired, but I'm energized by the news, Mari. I feel like we have new life. It's kind of like, you know, it feels a little bit like insert religious holiday here where things are reborn. That's what it feels like today. So I feel good. I feel hopeful. I feel like a newborn baby.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
How do you feel?
Yeah, it's been a week. It's been a week for me, like work related, but just like you said, like I'm glad it's the weekend. I'm currently at my mom's house, hopefully gonna go see Nope today. Like I'm excited to, you know, get the weekend rolling. And I mean, what a way to start the weekend. With the news that
they really love their Friday news, don't
they?
Like
love
their
Friday
5
news.
p.m. news. Just like that's the way to do it, right before everyone's about to take off. And that's such a Vince McMahon thing to do. Like the man who has 2 a.m. meetings, works out at probably 3 a.m. Like it's no surprise, and it's very disrespectful on his way out. He couldn't wait until Monday at 8 a.m.
No, he's smart. He's like, we about to pop these SmackDown ratings. So
and the wrestling RHAPUp ratings too, because at the end of the day, what happens is, look, he'll make his announcement on Fridays. Everyone else has already talked about whatever they've talked about, and then we're here on Saturday morning just to kind of like, I don't know why I was going to say collect the dust, but dust settles. Something about the dust.
Something about dust.
Dusty roads. Common Man Boogie, American Dream,
just left in the dust. Either way, Vince McMahon has retired as the CEO of WWE.
At 77 years old.
At 77
not
years
a day
old.
too soon. Is that what you're going to say?
I was going to say not only as the CEO though, but creative director, all of it, because you know he stepped down as a CEO a few months ago when these allegations started about sexual misconduct, but now he's fully retired from the company. They announced that his daughter, Stephanie McMahon, and Nick Khan are now co-CEOs. On top of that, Triple H has come back as the executive vice president of talent relations, displacing John Laurinaitis.
Yeah, and temporarily Bruce Pritchard for like a short minute while these investigations were Bruce, I think the last month or two, Bruce has been doing talent stuff because John has been sketchy the last couple months. He hasn't been like, I don't know where he's been, but I think this is an official confirmation that he's gone.
Yeah, gone. Yeah, which is just like Matt said, insert religious holiday here. It is a great day.
What's today's date? July 23rd.
I'm pretty sure
we'll figure out what to call it.
We're around some pagan holiday. I'm pretty sure. So I mean, Matt, are you surprised? I mean, I don't. For me, still hasn't sunk in really.
Well, I'm not surprised, you know, because even last week, I think there's just a lot of skepticism. Like a lot of people didn't believe that this could happen, and I kind of thought, like, I remember even commenting in the Job as a Squadcast Facebook group where a lot of our listeners are on something and saying, like, could you imagine Disney buying this company of Vince McMahon, this abuser? And I don't know if I think a lot of people thought, oh, they could rehab it, they could fix things, but there's no world, at least in my mind, knowing how bad things are, that they could keep going with him, because it's just going to continue to be a reputational risk. And there's a lot to be said for the way that they've normalized his behavior so that people are cheering him, and thank you, Vince. And it's like, why are you cheering him? Because at the end of the day, I get it, it's wrestling, we do that, but also it's trash. He's trash.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Undisputed trash.
Yeah,
the undisputed trash champion, Vince McMahon.
For me, it's kind of like I don't necessarily mind the wrestlers saying it, because like Kurt Angle put out a post saying, like, after I had won that gold medal in '96, Vince gave me the opportunity to find my second win. Like, to me, the wrestlers saying it, when it's something like it's he literally helped most of their careers, I'm a little bit more like, okay, it's fine. The fans kind of saying it, that's when I kind of give you like the side eye, you know what I'm saying? Because to me, it's like, so you are condoning, you're adding to that level of acceptance of sexual misconduct and sexual coercion, because you don't know Vince. You know what I'm saying? I don't know Vince McMahon.
I had a moment like just the other day, and I was explaining this to someone where, like, on LinkedIn, like at my job, I got a promotion recently. Ooh. And on LinkedIn, I had different people commenting, like mostly people I know, and I'm like, great. And then someone I didn't know was like, this is so well deserved. Like, thank you, you're amazing. And I was like, kind of like this situation where I'm like, I don't know her. I don't know. You don't know me. You don't know me, and I don't know you. So it's okay.
Maybe they know you from like podcasting. Maybe they're listening.
Yeah, right, sure. Now, maybe it's one of those. Maybe they're wrestling or RHAPUp listeners. So sorry about that, and shout out to you for really listening in and tuning in. But it's like, 'cause it reminds me of that, because I'm just like, sometimes you just have to. I think it's just a habit. Like, one person starts chanting it, maybe he did do something nice. Maybe he held a door for someone one time, because that's about the nicest thing I could imagine him doing. Yeah. And maybe they were thankful, and then it kind of caught on like the wave, and everyone was cheering it. I mean, were people crying in the audience like, thank you, Vince, oh my gosh, you've changed our lives?
So Stephanie McMahon opened SmackDown yesterday, and like
a better McMahon. Arguably
the bar is low.
Yeah.
So Stephanie opened SmackDown basically just like, oh, it's new era, fluffy stuff, my father's legacy, fluffy stuff, and then saying like, let a chant of thank you, Vince. It was a really cute moment when she kind of like looked directly into the camera and said, I love you, Dad. It was cute.
She really mouthed that out.
You couldn't really mouth that. Yeah,
good for
her.
Just
say it to the mic, girl. Like, I don't
know. That's sweet. And it's funny because cute. Like, and this is kind of where like, we're not just trashing everything, because I did think that was really sweet. And you have to really feel for her even in the situation. Like, you don't get to choose who gives birth to you, who raises you. Right. And then she's made the best out of what she's kind of been given, and over the years, Stephanie has what she's been given,
millions of dollars. So
well, she's made a lot of. I mean, there's a lot that she's made out of it, but also that she is just kind of given, and it's kind of happened, and it's good for her. But I always feel like through the years, like she's never been contrary to Vince and what he's built, but I feel like a lot of the time I've seen like yeah, this is wacky. Like she I would like to think that she has a better head on her shoulder than her father, but
yeah, it's weird. It's philanthropy is marketing. It's
yeah,
really
yeah,
it's really hard to judge any of these people.
exactly.
She's always been an extension of her father. That has been the more acceptable extension. They've always used her as the propaganda wheel for getting the women's evolution rolling. So she definitely has a better image within the company.
Right.
And it's admirable when a woman takes over after their father, especially since it's weird we don't know what is going on with him and Shane. He fired Shane. We don't know where Shane is. Shane has had so many like failed investments and stuff like that. So, I mean, Stephanie is palatable because of the comparison,
But also, I mean, if there's any, hope that we could have here, other than what we already know about Stephanie and Vince, it's just like generationally, like that, people have their like older, out of touch parents, grandparents. So even just having someone who's younger and more in touch, even though she has been known as the $1 billion princess for about 30 years.
Yeah.
See, I had to add that clarification in, Mari. Like, it's better. It's
better.
I
see what you're saying.
Yeah, we're getting to a better place, I think, especially because Vince is gone and Bruce Pritchard is still there, but Johnny Ace, John Laurinaitis is gone. Maybe Kevin Dunn is going to leave is the other rumor that's going around. So
we don't know. Yeah, right now that's the biggest thing. We don't know. I can imagine that the minute we log off of here, it's gonna be that's
the other thing. They love their 5 p.m. announcements and they love their Saturday at noon announcements,
Sunday,
right when we're like either wrapping up or right when we finished recording. So
exactly. So we always have the luck of being kind of like the first to report on some stuff,
or the last if it comes right after.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly that. So I mean, no matter what, like going from a 77-year-old to like a 40, 50-year-old, it's still it's better ish. We don't know who's running creative yet. That hasn't been answered. There's only been one show, it's only Saturday. I mean, it was only SmackDown yesterday that was run, and the SmackDown that was run yesterday was literally copy and paste from all the last ones. So it's not, we can't tell yet. Clearly, it's been one day. So we'll see how this goes.
And by the way, let me just give some respect to Stephanie McMahon. She is not 50. She is 45.
Oh, good for her.
I mean, I don't know. I just facts. Yeah. I mean, whatever.
I said 40 or 50, whatever.
I don't want you to be canceled, Mari, for all the new Stephanie stands that are out there.
So we also kind of got word. It was really interesting that once the Vince McMahon news dropped, there was word that Brock Lesnar had left SmackDown. Like Brock Lesnar had walked out.
And like very, very strong rumors where Fightful was talking about Brock Lesnar leaving, and there's a line, I don't know, Mari, if you have it with you, but something like, if Vince is leaving, I'm leaving.
If Vince is gone, I'm gone.
Right.
Yeah, something to that effect. So that's what they're saying. Like that was something to the effect of Brock Lesnar leaving. And then there was rumors like, okay, well, if Brock Lesnar's gone, then what's going to happen at SummerSlam? And then they said, oh, Goldberg was tentatively called to step in. Why?
I mean,
why?
I mean, they're very like similar types.
If I hate to see Brock Lesnar versus Roman, I sure don't want to see Goldberg versus Roman. Like, get out of here. Y'all act like y'all don't have Shinsuke Nakamura right there. Y'all act like y'all don't have Seth Rollins right there.
No.
Y'all act like y'all don't have AJ Styles right there. Like, it's very
like they
annoying.
act like they don't have a phone either, because it's like, who are you going to call? Like, you could call so many people probably to show. Actually, I don't even know if that's true, but there are probably a lot of people they could call up for like a surprise appearance or a special one-off, or even have The Rock appear.
Yeah, I was about to say, they've been trying to call The Rock.
Have The Rock send a video message involving an egg or something like that.
Oh
and then,
my God.
So it's that was unfortunate, the Goldberg rumors. It is also interesting that, just to take a step back, it is kind of weird that those rumors came out yesterday because everything happened so fast. So Vince announced that he tweeted out that he was retiring at about 4 p.m. I don't know when Brock found out the information, but if it was after that point, it just seems strange to me that they're already going to the well of replacement ideas. And then, of course, we did see Brock appear on the show. So even if he left, who knows if he left and came back or if he didn't leave at all or what happened. But yeah, strange rumor about Goldberg. And I do wonder how true that is. I don't know.
Yeah, it was kind of funny. After it all went down, everybody's like, "Oh, Stephanie McMahon, queen of feeding the dirt sheets false information." But we say all this to say that the rumor was Brock left, but Brock showed up after the main event, which the main event, Austin Theory and versus Madcap Moss with like what was it, the Street Profits and the Usos. Yeah. Get out of here. What main event? Why is Madcap Moss in the main event? Like, strange. That man is not over. He's not over. When he comes out, the crowd goes silent. But anyways, Brock came out to F5 Austin Theory.
He did.
So the rumors of his departure were greatly exaggerated.
Yeah.
And then come to find out, well, in between that time, of course, a lot of Sasha and Naomi fans and just people with common sense in general were like, okay, so if Brock walks out, will there be a message from Michael Cole saying he was unprofessional on commentary?
Unprofessional. It was the tone, though, that Michael Cole used with unprofessional, ungrateful. Get these, actually, he said it was horrible.
He said it, but I truly felt like he didn't want to be saying it. At least the first time.
That's what everyone said, but the tone it felt off.
I thought Corey Graves sounded like what you were saying. I think Michael Cole really was like gritting his teeth through it, like he did not want to be reading that. But anyways,
probably.
Of course, they didn't.
Yeah.
The rumors are even more rumors are that when Brock walked out, somebody called him. Rumors are it could have been Vince himself, but somebody from the back called him and nicely, politely asked him to come back. And Brock did. I wonder what could have happened if they had just respectfully asked for 2 other superstars to come back. Maybe we wouldn't be in a stupid situation.
Yeah,
rather than bury them on live TV immediately.
You know what? Honestly, maybe they would have been back already if not for that, but who knows?
Yeah, who knows? And so a lot of this, again, a lot of this shake-up stuff is everything. Sasha and Naomi continue to be the conversation. They've been the conversation for 2 months after walking out. So with all of this shake-up in the back, people are wondering, okay, does Stephanie McMahon do the right thing and pull up a dump truck full of money to Sasha and Naomi's house? But the funny thing is, I don't think people realize this is not about money. You know what I'm saying? Like, I truly don't think this is about money. It's about
they don't need the money. They don't need the money. Well, I mean, it's like at some point when you're getting paid really well. I mean, it's sorry to Naomi, but especially when you're getting paid like Sasha, like who I don't even I'm sure I've seen numbers related to Sasha out there. It's like respect, and also but like their health, and again people falling on their heads every single day. It's just it's hard to do that, I would imagine, when you feel like you're being disrespected. It's hard to do your job in general when, I'm sure we could all relate to this, when we feel like we're being disrespected or not valued enough. So, it's not always about money. A lot of it could be about it could be about so many things we don't know yet, but we could speculate.
Exactly. We can definitely speculate. Again, I if it was truly like some of the backstage executives that forced the issue with Sasha, at least one of them is gone. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, John Laurinaitis is gone, and Vince McMahon is gone, and
Vince is gone too. Both of them are gone. But I'm saying, like, the heavy rumors was it was Laurinaitis. But they're gone.
You remember when they had, and I can't even remember if this is true or not, but they had Molly Holly as like in the stories and the rumors as the scapegoat. Who knows if that was even how true that was.
Were they trying to scapegoat her? I thought they were just like, when I read it, it was kind of like she was the man in the middle. Like,
yeah, she was, that was basically it. I don't even know if she was involved at
she had to deliver the news. Like, she was the one who was like kind of going back and forth, having to deliver the news or whatever.
The women should all just walk out, not to tell women what to do. But I mean, if it were me, I might say, okay, we all should just leave, because
right.
So they need to work on their treatment of them, and it's going to continue to be a problem, which we'll continue to talk about on this podcast.
Right. So like we said, we will keep you up to date on all of this Vince stuff, the shakeup stuff. You know, if more, like, if we're, you know, it's pack watch for Kevin Dunn and Bruce Pritchard right now. So we'll see if they maintain their jobs. But we'll let you know if there's any more shakeups. Just real quickly, I did want to touch on, since we kind of talked about Sasha and Naomi, there are also like reports that they're like saying that, Liv, the Sasha and Naomi walkout is what led to Liv getting the SmackDown title. And I'm just like, that math ain't mathing. That math not mathing. How does the tag team champions walking out give Liv was already on the trajectory to like be in the title picture, but them walking out to me don't make sense as to why she took the belt off of Ronda.
Well, the implication of that was that Sasha would be the top baby face.
They needed another.
But it's weird. I mean, that whole idea is weird because Ronda is still a baby face. So allegedly.
Allegedly, right?
Sorry, allegedly.
No, you're right. Yeah. No, that's what they're booking her as a baby face.
Yeah. So I didn't really understand those news stories. And yeah, Liv has been on that trajectory over the last year, just being built up to where she is. So
I just didn't like it because I thought they were trying to blame Sasha and Naomi. Like, they're like, it opened the card up for Liv. Like if they were still there, Liv was going to get kept down. And I'm like, like, there's Ronda Rousey's right there holding that division hostage. You know, Charlotte was standing in the way. Becky is still in the way of the Raw Women's title. Like, why are we acting like Liv?
Yeah,
like they were the blockade to Liv. You know what I'm saying? Like, it felt like they were trying to say Sasha and Naomi were the blockade to Liv, because we all know everybody wanted the title on Liv. So you're trying to blame the black women?
Barry said it. She went there. I think that here's what I would say. I think the it's probably not a credible story, but I could see how you could make that up, or how you could say that, because at the end of the day, there are only so many women in the division. They each have different roles. So maybe Liv would have been in the tag team picture instead of in the position she's in now.
They had just booted her from the tag team position right before they walked. That was one of the reasons why they walked.
Yeah, it's bizarre. It's like, what? But as we know, they'll make a decision 1 week or 1 month and then change it the next. And so it's like, there's no telling what direction it would have gone in.
Yep, they'll do that, and then they'll blame their performance. Yeah. So either way, that's all for the news. Like we said, we'll keep you guys posted. Yeah. Make sure if you have any long form questions, you can email us. Send your email to wrestling@robhasawebsite.com, and we'll read your emails. Or you can tag us on Twitter using #WrestlingRHAPUp on Twitter. And you can follow us on Twitter @WrestlingRHAPUp on Twitter. We had some great when a lot of stuff dropped, we had a lot of people in the tagging us for a lot of stuff. Shout out to Jacob on there. I think we always get Tim. So we love talking to you guys on Twitter. Matt, you seem like you want to say something.
No. You're good.
Okay. So you can also join us on the Job Has a Squadcast Facebook group, the unofficial official Facebook group of the Wrestling RHAPUp, just let us know if you want in, and we'll get you in there. Hopefully you're already subscribed to our podcast feed. If not, please go to robhasawebsite.com/wrestling feed. Please subscribe. That's how we, reach more people. And if not, you might be looking at our beautiful faces here on YouTube. If not, you can go to Rob Has a Podcast on YouTube, search Wrestling RHAPUp, so you can see all of our faces. You can see our visual pictures of all the wrestlers. It's a good time. Go to YouTube.
Mari, I know that this is a podcast and primarily an audio medium, but I feel like we should give a 5-second pose so that people could appreciate us
ready?
on YouTube. Okay, yeah.
And
I'll count while we do it.
Okay.
Pose.
Oh, it's okay.
Yeah. Work it. Yeah. Pose.
Yeah, we're gonna be in Maxxine Male Models. Did you sign your
pose? Watch on
your
YouTube.
Application?
Yeah, I sent in the full body pictures and everything. Yeah, all of it. Yeah. Boom. Okay, there we did. Watch us on YouTube for that. YouTube exclusive. There we go. That's how you get people to watch the video version too.
Exactly. That's marketing 101.
Marketing masterclass. There we go. Anything else to plug?
Okay. No, we're good. We'll plug the Patreon next week. We will also be doing we always do our SummerSlam preview podcast will of course drop in the middle of the week, so stay tuned for that. But let's take a quick break and then we'll be back for the show. All right. We got a great guest today.
We do. I don't know if we're ready for this guest. Are we?
I'm ready for this guest.
Are we, Mari? And you know what, Mari? I'm just gonna say, a special guest who you podcast with a lot. Let's just get into it. Making her way to the podcast, hailing from Sydney, Australia, unceded Gadigal land. She is the co-host of Crime Scene, reviewing true crime media on RHAP with the one and only Mari Forth, robhasawebsite.com/crime feed, as well as a theater virtuoso, a connoisseur of the performing arts, a writer, director of audio, and visual and textual and all the things. She does it all. She does all the platforms and things. She's behind the scenes, but now she's on the scene on the podcast. Please welcome the Barb of the Wrestling RHAP, the Barb of RHAP, Sarah Carradine.
Oh, I sound exhausting. How do I do it all and stay looking so young and fresh?
I forgot to take a breath before that one, Sarah.
Yes, you needed a little bit more diaphragmatic support there. Well,
yes,
happy National Day of the Cowboy to you both.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, there you go.
That's what we're celebrating.
Happy Mosquito Day to those who celebrate.
No, anti-mosquito. Okay. Sorry, hot take, but I
don't know what kind of mosquitoes y'all got.
Mosquitoes.
But we don't like them over here.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Thank you.
Sarah,
we're on the same page.
Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be back.
Yes.
My second bout. Is it called a bout? Is it called a match? Is it
duel?
Duel?
Ladder match, maybe?
A thrill, as there are three of us. Thank you so much for asking me on. I was very excited to draw eyebrows on my face at midnight. But here we are.
Same. We love that for you. Yes, thank you so much for being here. And Mari, when we have new guests, we tend to ask what their relationship is with wrestling. But Sarah, I want to ask, and maybe people might know this if they listen to you on Pod Friends a few weeks back. Shout out to Pod Friends, my other podcast. But what has your relationship with wrestling been since October of last year when you were a guest on the Wrestling RHAP?
Well, I am sort of half up on the news because I now, when I see wrestling in my time feed on the Twitters, I go, oh yeah, I sort of know about that. So the whole Sasha Naomi thing, I felt it. I would have gone past it had it been pre-October last year. But I felt it. I felt the anger of the fans. I felt the passion, and I thought, yes, I have an opinion about that. I still don't watch wrestling, but I was thrilled to get the opportunity to be forced to watch more wrestling clips in preparation for today. And I thought, oh yes, I missed this. So that's my relationship with wrestling, other than wrestling with my demons, which I do on a daily basis.
Oh no. Well, give your demons a rest for a second and you can talk wrestling with us. And this time you're back, and we're going to bring back the segment that we did with Dr. Amanda and Ariel a few weeks. We're going to do the casual rating segment with you, Sarah. So once we get through just the one real storyline that we really want to talk about, we're going to hand you the reins to kind of piece together the stuff that you saw. And it's gonna be so much fun today. So let's just get
I was going to say I'll be coming in off the top rope. I think that's something.
There it is.
Yeah, you did.
It's a thing. It's a thing.
Yeah.
So let's get started with the highlights of the week. All the highlights of the week can be found in our playlist, either on YouTube or in your show notes on wherever you get your podcasts. So let's start off again. This week in wrestling, it feels like a slow death march to SummerSlam. Like, it's just nothing is truly exciting to me. Really, again, it always could be because of the malaise of not having Sasha and Naomi, but truly, I just don't feel like this show is booked well. But I also feel like a lot of injuries have gotten in the way. It's just so weird. So we got to start off on Raw with Becky, Bianca. So Becky and Bianca are officially now slated for SummerSlam. But this segment was a little weird to me. Matt, let me know if you agree here. But so Becky comes out, she's like, oh, I got my match. We get Bianca talking about, I'll face anybody, I'll face you, I'll take you down at SummerSlam. I gotta avenge that 26 seconds. They keep bringing up the 26 seconds from SummerSlam from last year, but I'm like,
it was a year ago.
It was a year ago. I loved how naturally the feud ended at WrestleMania, and Bianca erased all the doubts of the 26 seconds, and then they also did maybe a few stuff afterwards, but it was just, I just thought that the WrestleMania tied that up perfectly in a bow, and now we're kind of like unwrapping it and peeking inside and rewrapping it, but you can tell that it's not as pretty this time. Like, it's just and so Carmella, but she also had to put her title on the line against Carmella that night, where the champion's advantage was taken off. Like, if Bianca got counted out or whatever, Carmella will win. And Carmella's like, oh, you shouldn't look past me and all this stuff. And it's like, so while Bianca is defending her title with all these rules that are supposed to, kind of help her lose, Becky is on commentary talking about their fight at SummerSlam, and it just truly kind of, to me, felt a little backwards. Like, it felt backwards. Like, why is the actual champion in the match while the contender is on the commentary? Like, I don't understand why Becky was just given the match. Why didn't we get Becky versus Carmella for number one contenders? Like, it. I don't know. Matt, what did you think about this setup here?
I think that the one big thing that I would say is that I agree with you. I agree with you completely on kind of the journey of this story. And I think they did a really great job. Really, they did, and surprisingly great job out of SummerSlam, like continuing to come back to the 26 seconds and it didn't make Bianca look bad, but now it's just like, look, they faced off so many other times that it shouldn't even be an issue. Like, that is old news because they have touched gloves a number of other times, so to speak. So I agree with you on the Carmella piece, and it didn't even really occur to me, mostly because I think I was just a little frustrated about how they keep going back to the same match with Bianca and Carmella. Well, and I don't even mean, going back to last year and other points over the last year, but I just mean in the last month. So that was more of my frustration here. But you are right. You would think there'd be a Becky Carmella match, and it's strange that they didn't go there. Like I still can't wrap my head around it. I also really can't wrap my head around why Carmella had a championship match here in this spot again. So
yeah. Well, I think the cover was because the week before they said, "Oh, Bianca, you intentionally got, counted out because you're afraid of Carmella."
But even that, I mean, yeah. First of all,
doesn't make sense.
Like if that were the situation, as you just mentioned it, like her intentionally getting counted out, if that were the case, then I get it. And we have seen those moments where a heel champion gets intentionally counted out or disqualified, and then there's a rematch. That makes sense. This didn't make sense, especially because there's no chance. Like in the eyes of the fans, there's no chance that Carmella is gonna win the title here. Now, I would be really frustrated and fired up if it happened, if Carmella somehow won the championship in that match. But I mean, at least then we have that idea of, oh, well, anything could happen in the WWE, which is not the case. And this match proved it again. It's just what's to be expected. And then they find odd ways to get to the title. Yeah.
Sorry, I have a question. No, a very serious question. Why don't people pull Bianca's plait?
Because they do. But the reason why is like the moment you touch her braid, then she uses it as a weapon. Like in her babyface iteration of it, like she just wrestles. The moment the heel starts to try to use her hair against her, that's when she uses her hair against them, and she does this really like cool whip thing where she like whips them with it, and it hurts so badly. So we'll probably see that at SummerSlam. Yeah, like she doesn't do it that often.
Her hair.
I love this look, and I love there was a little shot in the crowd of a small girl child with a very, very, very long braid.
Oh, yeah, they do sell them on WWEshop.com. They sell them, that. So you should get one. You should buy one.
I didn't. I still haven't got mine.
No, I can't wear braids. No,
I still haven't gotten mine.
No, Mari, don't worry. I'll give it to you next time we're at brunch. Don't worry.
Okay,
I have one for you. Don't worry.
Yeah, Sarah, don't do it, Sarah.
No.
Don't wear it.
No braids.
You can buy it, but don't wear it.
No braids for white ladies.
You know what, Sarah? Maybe don't even touch it. Like you could buy it and like put it, but don't hold it. Don't touch it.
Can't touch the hair. No.
Yeah.
No.
Y'all are ridiculous.
Yeah. Now the other thing I noticed was when Becky Lynch was getting her, this is the story so far, and the commentator was saying, and she was this and this and this, and then she became a mother. And they said it like she became a serial killer. I thought, it's as if the narrator just didn't have a vocal register for mother and had to kind of default to serial killer. I liked these women a lot. I loved their braggadocio. I don't understand the sort of the ins and outs. What you're saying to me is so interesting. But when Becky was in the commentary box sitting back with her leather boots the same color as her leather pants, firing
it was a nice outfit.
I thought it was a great outfit, and that sort of strange strapped hoodie thing that I didn't understand. I loved that. I loved her kind of carrying on in the corner. So I liked all their outfits. I liked that moment. That is Carmella going to win, but of course she doesn't. I really liked seeing these women and the way they speak about themselves, and as I said, their front. They've got more front than David Jones, as we say, which is a big department store here. When you compare it to somebody that I'm going to talk about later, Jade, who has all the words but none of the guts, or a little bit further south. That she didn't have the clip for it, but these girls do. So
Yes.
She
just doesn't have it. You know, doesn't
exactly.
Have it.
I agree. I agree. It's like it's star power, right? It's both Becky, Bianca, Carmella, they all have it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And there's a way that they were working together when we saw, like, Becky does sort of jump on Bianca, you know, briefly, and then we see the match with Carmella, and the way they work together, there isn't that hesitation and setup you see with some of the others. I know it's a performance, but it is athleticism, and it's a real sport. It's really happening.
Yep.
And what I noticed in particular, because I went back to those three women, because I thought, am I just biased because it's the first thing I saw and I got really excited, but there was a flow to the way that each of the pairs worked together, and that I love that sort of that cooperation. But it had fire, and they were slamming. I mean, that it can't not hurt. I mean, I know it's safe in inverted commas, but you know, I just love their strength. I love their athleticism. I love their marvelous. I mean, how great to see women talking themselves up. Basically.
Exactly.
You know.
Yeah, and that's the point. Like, if we're, you know, we're down on the storyline, but we know these women are going to deliver. That's, you know, it constantly, WWE creative set their performers up with horrendous bad storylines, and then they push them out into the ring, and that it's up to the wrestlers to make the magic, and the wrestlers make the magic. Like Bianca and Becky fighting, it's some of the best wrestling you will ever see, but we've seen it so many times and the stakes feel very low. That's the thing. And Carmella too. Like Carmella and Bianca, like Matt said, do the same match over and over again. It's still good, but it's repetitive. Right. You know, you can get served filet mignon and lobster every day. By the 10th day, you're gonna be like, okay, I'm not a big fan anymore, you know? So it's just the performers themselves. Anything we critique, we always say it's not the performer, it's normally the creative that we really truly don't like. And I'm just trying to figure out if this is going to be a straightforward match at SummerSlam. Like, if it is, and it's like I want Bianca to win, because Bianca I feel like has not had a solid feud to carry her through her reign. And I'm sad for Rhea Ripley, because this should have been Rhea's spot.
Right.
And unfortunately, her teeth or brain injury or whatever injury, it seems like it's taking way longer than anybody anticipated for her to recover from. And it sucks, because I thought they were, that was going to be such a great feud. It was going to be such a great feud. We're finally going to get a Bianca Rhea feud where the shoe was on the other foot, and like Bianca's the face, Rhea was the heel, Bianca was the champion, Rhea was the challenger. We got those opposite dynamics when they were in NXT, and they always had great chemistry together. So I'm just really bummed that we're not getting Bianca versus Rhea Ripley. And it makes me think, if she's better, will she interfere in this match? Will returning Bayley interfere into one of these matches? I can't see like Becky losing clean here or Bianca losing clean here. Like, both of them need to be kept strong. So I wouldn't be surprised if we get some sort of interference at SummerSlam, but then honestly, you never know.
Yeah, there is a world maybe where we do get Becky and Bayley together. I mean, we have seen Bayley. We have seen Bayley with, obviously, Bayley and Sasha as the golden role models were huge as a tag team. And I could even imagine WWE saying, like, look, Sasha, look what we're going to do. We're going to make an even better team by putting, and I don't think that's possible, by putting Becky and Bayley together. But I could see that happening. I think that's a great point. One thing that's just been on my mind with all this is they keep going back to the 26-second match. And I mean, like, what about the WrestleMania, like, 20-minute match that they had, you know? Like, I think that they're doing such a great job of giving these women the space to hype up, or giving these performers really the space to hype up their their work and themselves in ways that they haven't always and don't always give the women performers, especially. Like 20 years ago, it might have just been really catty and petty and not good writing. And I mean, if they just alluded a little bit more to like the epic encounters, and if Becky had a complaint that was about like, oh, Bianca, the way that you did XYZ, I can't even remember if Bianca used her hair in the WrestleMania match, but like if she did, you know, it would just be interesting for Becky to come back to that. So it reminds us of that epic encounter rather than going back to something that happened in the like last cycle before WrestleMania. Like that is old. That's literally old news. They don't go back to the well of stuff that's like happened pre-WrestleMania because that's the end of the story arc for so many things. So I don't know. I think but overall, like I agree with what you said, Sarah, that they like, it was great to hear Bianca and Becky really hyping their work up. And you're so spot on about the dynamics between them. And it does flow, which is really easy to see in contrast to moments when it doesn't flow, unfortunately.
Yeah. And when you work so much together, like it becomes second nature, and you can definitely tell when people who enjoy working together, who can work together, and it's just seamless. But I mean, that's truly all that I really want to talk about from the week, because you know it didn't feel like much going on. That's all we're gonna sit here and discuss. What we're gonna do is we're gonna now pass the mic to Sarah. So this is our casual ratings with Sarah Carradine. It was inspired by a thread at Erin M. Payton. Shout out to her. She had responded when we had tagged her. She was a casual who did a Money in the Bank thread, and it took the wrestling Twitter sphere by storm, because a casual person just tweeting out their random thoughts about people they had no idea about was some of the funniest stuff we had ever read. So we're going to ask Sarah to describe to us what she sees in the clips and give a rating on how much you enjoyed it based on no knowledge of wrestling. So Sarah, tell us what went into your ratings. Dr. Amanda had a whole rating system. Ariel, I think, just
whole rubric.
Ariel just liked people hitting each other, I think.
Yeah.
Shout out to both of them. Do you have any specific rating?
Yeah, what does your rubric your detailed rubric look like?
My rubric is like smiley face, frowny face. I liked it, or meh, I didn't like it.
That works.
But, you know,
that works for me.
That works for me, because I think nothing,
that
nothing to base it on other than we or
No, we'll hear you break it down. I think there's probably a lot more in there that we'll pick up on along the way. But that sounds good. We like the smileys and frownies.
For those who don't know, Sarah is very used to rating things on our podcast, the Crime Scene podcast. We rate by giving out magnifying glasses on if we like the property that we watch. So Sarah is very good at ratings, and we are going to take her ratings and can't wait to like break them down and listen to them. So Sarah, let's start with our first storyline here, which was the Judgment Day.
Yes. So here we have a very tall man with shavy sides. I believe his name is Damian Priest.
Yes, ma'am.
And he has a friend. He has a friend.
Oh
no. and they're both very shouty. And the thing that they seem to be shouty about is they want the son to betray his father. This is such a brilliant storyline. It's a classic. It goes back in time. It goes forward in time. And the tall, shouty man says, "We chose not to hurt Dominic Mysterio." Wow, what a statement. I love it. He will choose to join Judgment Day. There's a statement, and he tries to back it up. He apparently has only Dominic's best interests at heart, because he feels that his father, Ray, I only know this because of the title of the video,
right,
is holding him back. It's holding him back. And then we have the match between Rey Mysterio, who's a fantastic outfit, which I absolutely loved, the green, and the very tall man. So we have a short man flying around, and we have a tall man, tall, shouty man. And I loved the way that Rey Mysterio used Damian Priest as a climbing frame.
Yeah.
Jumped all over him.
A base.
He turned upside down and put his bum in his face. He put his crotch in his face. It was fantastic. I love the unashamed positions that these two men got themselves into.
What?
And, well, these are the positions, the wrestling positions.
This is out of context. This does...
No, don't do me.
I mean, in some ways it doesn't sound good. In other ways it sounds great. So keep going.
And then you think, well, Ray is so nimble. There's absolutely no way that he is going to lose. And then he loses, and it's a shocking moment as the tall man and his friend get to. Well, the friend brings on 2 chairs. Because apparently there are just handily chairs about.
There is.
Last time I was on,
there are a lot of people.
They got these from the skirt, the skirt under the thing. Anyway, so 2 chairs come on, and actually, this actually looked quite horrific. Yeah. 1 chair under the head, and then I'm not quite sure what the other chair is supposed to do, but Damian does say he's going to take Ray's head off, and I was scared that he was actually going to do it.
Yeah, this is called a concerto. Normally when it's 2 people, they hold the chairs, and then they both hit the chairs on the person's head at the same time. Dr. Amanda would not like this.
This is not good. And before I go on to the next thing,
yes, ma'am.
Much though I enjoyed the biffo between these 2 men, here was the setup, the more obvious setups, which I didn't see with the women. So this match didn't have the flow. It was the getting into the positions, which were marvelous, and the flying around, which is marvelous. But there was, to my eye, much less flow, much more set piece to set piece to set piece. Even though the set pieces were great, it didn't have that flow. But I still very much enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And then young Dominic arrives into the ring. No, don't hurt my father. And the tall, shouty man says the only way you can save your father is by agreeing to join Judgment Day. Now, here's where the story gets a little bit muddy, because we've had this idea of his father's holding him back. We're going to get him in Judgment Day. But now it just seems much more of a revenge story where he is tearing Ray's son from him. So the storyline to me is a little bit muddied. But anyway, the young man, as you would, says, I'll join you. I will join you. And tall shouty says, say it into the microphone. And he makes him say it over and over again. And so it is done. A son has been sundered from his father and goes, we think, to join Judgment Day. Twist! There's a huge twist. I did not see this twist coming. The title of the video is Judgment Day delivers a vicious message. And the vicious message, well, that's so you can see, being beaten by a chair, poor father, like an upturned turtle, waving his arms and legs around.
We're not laughing at the violence. We just appreciate this.
I love the descriptions. I love the descriptions.
It sounds very sadistic out of context with me and Mari laughing.
Well, I mean, one of the commentators does say that one commentator says to the other, aren't you going to do something about this? And the other one says, no, it doesn't work that way. And I thought, we're going to get the commentators in the ring now. There's Biffo. Anyway, there's Biffo. and the commentators call it remorseless and sadistic. And I think that's very true, very apt description, much more apt.
Yep.
But in the twist on the twist, Tall Shouty Man says, congratulations, you failed the test. No, I think his friend says that. Yeah, you should have grabbed a chair and cracked your father's skull, just like we cracked Edge's skull when he got in our way. I think it was Edge.
Yes.
That was the name.
That's right.
Yep. That's
and so this is the twist on the twist. You have humiliated and forced the son to deny his father, and now you say, but we don't want you because we saw through it. You can't just say it. You have to show us. And this is what, undercover cops happens to undercover cops. When the drug dealers say, you're a cop, and they say no, and they say, okay, snort this line of coke. A lot of cops are very used to doing that anyway, so it's not much of a stretch. But in the movies, it's a big stretch, or they're asked to kill someone. And so I was gripped from beginning to end by this story.
That's awesome. That was I love that. It was such a great telling, but it's true. The Judgment Day is kind of funny for me because like we talked about how when they turned on Edge, we were like, okay, how is this gonna go? Will they still maintain the star power that they had when Edge was leading them? Unfortunately, as soon as they dropped Edge, about a week or two later, they lost Rhea. And Rhea Ripley. Now we're just down to Damian Priest and Finn Balor, and it's like it's given just regular tag team vibes. This was, in context, Sarah. This was a faction that was kind of mysterious, maybe like supernaturally for a time there, and then now it's shrinking down to these two men, and it's kind of underwhelming to what they could have been, but I did like this story. And I think this story, me and Matt kind of talked about it before the pre-podcast, but this story seems like it's leading to Edge is definitely coming back. We talked last week about the mysterious messages are seeming
mysterious,
to be
not Mysterio, just her who's confused.
Are leading to an Edge return. We do know he's on his way back. Next week on Raw will be Rey Mysterio's 20th anniversary. They're celebrating his 20th anniversary. That's why Judgment Day said that they're at the 20th anniversary. They are going to just basically beat the pulp out of him. And they referenced Edge. And I confirmed with Matt, I was like, Edge and Rey Mysterio used to tag together, right? They did. Yeah. So we would not be surprised if next week on Raw, when Judgment Day tries to take everything away from Rey Mysterio, Edge shows up and joins him to help fend them off. So can't wait. I think it's if that's the case, I'd really like to see it. The small one, that's Finn Balor. People love him. It does feel like he is taking a slight back seat in this. It's supposed to be a faction, but I still am not. I think it's still too early to call if Judgment Day is like a failure or anything like that, because they can both talk. I love Damian Priest talking. I love this fire. I love both of them. Again, like Sarah said, the motivations seem a little all over the place, but it's still interesting to me. I still love it. And I want Rhea back so badly. I want her back. I want her in there helping them. I want her fighting Bianca. I want it all. So I kind of need, I actually really want it to work, because I think Judgment Day is, I like supernatural gimmicks, I do. They say it can't work in this reality era of wrestling. I think the Fiend showed us that it can work if it's done correctly. But I think the biggest question is, can it be sustainable long term? Which is hard. Yeah, Matt's like, I don't know. But I mean,
it's 50-50 with WWE sometimes.
Truly.
In terms of what they're able to keep going.
Exactly. Yeah, I think the storyline could be cleaned up to just, in order to hurt Rey and take everything from him, we are going to take his son. So the muddiness there, the slight muddiness there is, his father's holding him back, and that's why join us. They need to get rid of that and just make it this pure kind of breaking this man down. And if it's his 20th next time, they better not beat him. Even I would say you can't beat him.
Well, you know, I mean,
he flies through the air. Come on, he flies through the air sideways.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how this goes. Mari, you mentioning Rhea makes me think, like, honestly, I'd love to see her come back, but I would love to see her just beating up Dominic Mysterio, just like a schoolyard bully. She gives those vibes. I could just see her throwing him around. Like, that's what I want. I want Edge, Rey Mysterio, and Dominic versus Rhea and Finn Balor, whose name I almost forgot, and Damian Priest. So, you know, that, I mean, maybe that's the way that they even the odds. I will say I haven't lost hope in the Judgment Day faction. And to me, they still, oddly, even though it's only two of them, they feel like a faction, maybe because Rhea's technically still part of the group. So, you know, it's strange. And it's odd that it's only two of them, but what could you do? Well, I was gonna say, what can you do? But
what they can do is recruit.
You could do a lot.
They can recruit. Yeah,
they're trying to recruit Dominic.
You know.
Yeah.
Are they though? It's frustrating. Like, come on, don't make the barriers that high. Come on.
He said he'd join them, and they saw right through him because he didn't smash his father's head open.
Back in my day in wrestling, they used to have it where you lost a match, and then you were forced to join the group. You didn't, you didn't just offer to join. And so, very interesting.
Back in your day when you were wrestling.
Back in my day as a wrestling fan.
Yeah.
No, I wasn't under the like Rey Mysterio mask initially or anything like that. No.
Has there only ever been one person under that mask, or do we feel there's been a Dread Pirate Roberts situation?
It's him. It's the same Rey Mysterio. Right. But he's like 50 years old and still
he's 50.
Able to. And he's been wrestling for 30 to 30. Let me say 30 years.
They said 20 years in WWE.
Yeah, in WWE.
20, but he also wrestled in WCW. So he's been wrestling since I was like 10.
His knees.
Nimble. He's nimble.
Well, yeah, he talks about too his injuries, his knees being shot. I think he had, I don't want to say knee replacements. I'm not the person to ask about this, but basically, and the fact that he's still able to do it is great. But yeah, with that in mind, just the way that he moves around the ring is impressive, and the fact that he's still doing it after 20 years is impressive, if not terrifying. That
exactly, like right, exactly. So yeah, let's move on to the next clip here, Sarah, with the Miz and Logan Paul.
This was
the
stupid. It was so stupid. It was so stupid. They just shouted at each other a little bit. If that blonde fellow's Logan Paul,
unfortunately, it's
a very strange face. I didn't know that. Miz. Very nice, very nicely dressed. Yes. And then Logan Paul says that he has 2 blueberries in his pants. At which point, this very mild, very mild insult, tiny insult, makes Miz burst his shirt open. He's wearing a t-shirt that says, "Hello, my balls are massive."
I cannot believe they made that shirt.
It was so stupid.
Look at that shirt.
It was my God. Stupid. Because now we all know everything's set up, but please, can we have the illusion that it's improvised? Because you wouldn't hear. Here's a shirt he prepared earlier. My balls. No, hello. My balls are massive.
I mean,
why does it matter? Why does it matter?
Well, Sarah, let me just say, not to cut you off as you give us this beautiful description, but he has been told that his testicles are small. and he came prepared. It's like if you're used to being bullied and pushed by his wife. So
by his wife.
He's probably opened up the shirt to show off the hello, my balls.
Hello,
my bells. Our massive shirt multiple times. So
oh my gosh!
Just letting you know.
Do you think they sold those shirts?
I hope not. They better not.
I think they did.
If they do, Mari.
This was Vince's last stand.
Here's the thing.
That was the final straw.
Here's the thing about balls. There's lots of things about balls. I mean, you know, we like balls.
What is this podcast?
We use ballsy and we say balls, but balls are very vulnerable. You know, when people say, oh, they've got balls. I would have thought tiny balls would be more useful than massive balls because it's one shot to the balls and the owner of the balls is doubled up, doubled over, protecting themselves, vomiting. So I don't know where balls got this great reputation for being the, if you will, be all and end all. So I would say celebrate your tiny balls.
There you go. Your blueberries.
Your blueberries. My other thing would be to say that if you are a big
out.
Come back. If you are a big, calm man talking down to this upstart, why would such a mild and ridiculous insult make you, as if you're looking at the picture, if you're looking at the video, he's screaming in rage. Like, get hold of yourself. What's going on? So I thought this whole thing was stupid.
Hilarious.
Yeah, but picture it. Wouldn't you be upset if you go to the airport and people start talking about your genitals and I refuse to say balls, Sarah. I'm not going to talk about balls.
It's fine.
And I'm just saying could you imagine how there are all these people in this arena, thousands, if not 10,000 people, let's call it. It's probably not, but 10,000 people who are just going to make fun of him.
Well, put it this way.
You have to feel for the Miz.
If you really and truly have massive balls, then you could just simply calmly say, when did you see them?
This is your advice to the Miz.
Present them.
The Miz, and you are incorrect. Because what the Miz doesn't realize is that by reacting in this way, by getting very angry, and by having a T-shirt, this is what we call overcompensation. In other words, your balls are very. I mean, if somebody says
confirmation,
confirmation. If someone says you have tiny blueberries and you have massive melons in your pants, you would just laugh. You would just laugh and say, "Well."
The preferred, massive grapefruits,
massive.
Vince McMahon loves to say he has grapefruits in his pants.
He loves to,
so
but he's
what?
gone.
Who cares? I just thought the whole. I know that they want the conflict, but the conflict is based on such a ridiculous thing. So boo.
So frowny face.
Brownie face. Brownie face.
The first one was a smiley face.
Oh yes, first one was a smiley face. Yes,
perfect.
Yes.
Yeah, there's not much else to really talk about for that. It truly was. Logan Paul has been asking Miz for a match at SummerSlam for like weeks now, and Miz is like, "You're not going to get it," and then he just called his balls small, and he said, "Okay, fine."
Yeah, that's like if you if you didn't want to have the match, you just say, "I don't want to have the match." You have small balls. Okay, tiny blonde. But you're still not getting a match,
right?
Yeah.
What else? What else you got? What else you got?
Yeah, you know what? This is kind of not even kind of lazy, but just ridiculous. Like the whole thing, and right now, the picture that we have up here on the YouTube is Tommaso Ciampa standing next to the Miz and his shirt. And it is ridiculous. They've been wrestling a combined total of probably like 40 years together, and then they have Logan Paul walk up, who somehow punks them out, and they're all so frustrated by it. Like Logan Paul being upset by Logan Paul. I mean, I get it. It happens in the media. He's done controversial things. I don't know or care what they are, but he's not amazing. Who cares? They're getting very up in a tizzy, as some might say. about Logan
Yeah,
Paul.
I just think there's a cleverer. I mean, I suppose it's, you know, elemental and basic and understandable, but I feel there was a better insult to have got under the Miz's skin.
You know,
but hey, you know, it's all right.
Literal skin. Yeah.
Yeah, frowny face. So everybody, don't worry about if people say you have small balls or a small penis or small boobs, or it doesn't matter. Look, it really doesn't matter. It does not matter.
We need to clip that and put a like
a nice
learning moment, reading Rainbow type of music. Yes,
the learning moment really is that offense can't be given, but it can be taken. So don't take offense. Don't take offense.
And that's what we learned today, people. Thank you, Sarah.
Yes.
So let's move on over to NXT. Let's move to the first storyline here is Joe Gacy and his Dyads.
Yes.
His Dyads.
So Joe Gacy looks like a spaced out hippie cult leader, but a nice one from the 70s.
Perfect.
He talks about the pillars of inclusion and acceptance. He has two chaps there. They've been, it seems, from a flashback, they've wrestled. And we're going to reveal their true identity, the Dyad, the two. And they are purified. So the language that Joe Gacy is using is wonderful. And he looks at us with big round eyes and a lovely pot smoker's smile. He says they're going to be purified. Purified seems to be that they have their beards shaven off. And they now have different colored eyes. They now have Horner syndrome, which is the different colored eyes. And they are now named as Jagger Reed and Rip Fowler, which are brilliant names. I absolutely love them. They have been unshackled. They've been unshackled from their past. And I just loved this. And then they look at the camera with their different colored eyes. And they're awake and they're like newly reborn by being shaven and purified by Joe Gacy. Yeah. So I liked this very much. It was all very mysterious. The cloaks were great because they weren't black. They were this deep sort of blood red, which I absolutely loved the costuming. And then there we have the white shirt, the gray shirt, and the black shirt.
Interesting.
These shirts barely contain their chesticles. These are tailored shirts. So for anybody, man, woman, or in between, get your shirts tailored. It doesn't cost that much, and it makes you look fantastic, because shirts off the rack are for some imaginary average person, and none of us are that. So either get a dressmaker to make your shirts, or buy a shirt and have it tailored, and people will say, "Ooh," when they see it.
Yeah,
I do wonder if their shirts are actually tailored. I mean, they are tight. They do hug them chesticles, as you said, Sarah.
Yeah. Just because a shirt is tailored, it doesn't have to be tight. So all tight shirts may or may not be tailored, but all tailored shirts look great. So you don't have to have them tailored to this extent. But
yes. And just before we move on, this is a Rip Fowler. What is it? Jagger Reed
Fowler.
And Rip
Jagger
Fowler.
Reed and Rip Fowler.
I mean, those just sound like 80s rocks names. They're so over the top. Love it. But for those who are wondering, this is the grizzled young veterans. Yes, who have been clean shaven. And honestly, if you've been listening to this podcast, you would know I'm not a huge grizzled young veterans fan. Only not like I don't like them. It's just I just don't. They did nothing.
Kind of dry.
Yeah, very dry. Exactly, very very dry. So
grizzled dry veterans.
So them being in this like being the Dyads now and in this form, this like it's making me like, okay, all right, let's see what you can do. So a good gimmick change. they changed their names, but they didn't just change their names and pretend like, you know, we wouldn't notice. They gave it a whole backstory as to why they changed their names. They changed their gimmick. I love that. Yeah, we definitely love that.
Under a tree. They've been under a tree with Joe Gacy. We see the tree. The tree's lit up in red light. So if you're going to do a revamp, a rebrand, rather than just shave off your beards and change your names, there's the storyline as to why it happened. They went and they sat at the feet of Joe Gacy under this tree. So I liked it.
We know I'm a Joe Gacy fan. I love the progressive cult leader style, inclusion.
Yes.
Like,
I don't like him.
I love him.
I don't trust him.
I know.
Never trusted him from the beginning.
He has a sort of Manson air about him, which I like very much.
Yes. And it's evolved too, because he really started out, I think it was kind of confusing exactly what he was going for with like the politically correct PC type of thing, and he kept talking about safe spaces, and now it's really evolved into the cultiness. I feel like it's been a slow burn into the cult leader aspect of it though, but you always could see the darkness underneath behind those hazel eyes or whatever color.
It started with Harlan Parker, or his real name is
Parker Boudreaux. Harlan's the guy, the big one with the bald head.
Exactly. Like Sarah, like I love delusional heels. That's like basically my favorite type of heel. And so he would come out and he was like progressive Twitter. He would just he's like, hey, this is a safe space. You can lose safely. Talk to me. What are your pronouns? Like, that's how he used to come out, and he used to piss people off. And I love because that's how wrestling fans are. That's the bad guy to them. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so
clearly.
Clearly the person who respects people's space and their pronouns and how they want to be addressed and preaches inclusion. Of course, that's the bad guy.
Right.
But over the time, he slowly twisted that. It's the twisting of the good principles and making it something darker. So I'm feeling this. And then there was another clip, Sarah.
There was. So there's a big man who didn't have time to get dressed. He's just wearing a little pair of shorts.
He just lost a match. He had just lost a match.
I believe he just lost a match. He is not happy about it at all. And Joe Gacy's trying to talk to him, and there's a very poetic repetition of "not now, I said not now, I said not now" from this big sook who wants to go away and cry. Basically, he's trying to get away from the camera so he can have a good old sob, which I recommend. When you're upset, go and have a good sob. But Cameron doesn't want to do it in front of the cameras. Completely, I back him in that. And he's leaning on his little wee empty bag. And we know it's an empty bag because when it falls over and he picks it up again, there's clearly nothing in it. So not only has he not had time to get dressed, but he hasn't had time to pack anything into his wee little empty bag. And he's using it as a crutch as he tries with his broken body and his bare chest to struggle his way out the door. And Joe Gacy is basically just there for him. Just there for him in a creepy cult leader, hazel-eyed way. And I loved it.
Yes. I
said not now.
I know what?
Now.
He has said it. You know, I feel like, look, boundaries are very important, and I appreciate that. And I love, and it's so funny because the first time I watched this, the only time I watched this, but right when I watched it, I immediately picked up on that repetition and just the poetic nature of how he was delivering that promo. And Cameron Grimes is great with the delivery of these promos, bringing the emotion, but also the energy, but also, you know, there's a lot there. And he's known more as a comic character, and so the fact that we have this intensity from him that doesn't come off as corny more than anything, it's like, you mad, huh? Like, that's what I'm getting. Well, that's what we're getting.
He's bent over, he's using this little wee bag as to prop himself up. He has to crawl along the wall to get to the door, and meanwhile Joe Gacy's just there, just looming. And we've all had that person where we say, just leave me alone for one, please just leave me alone right now. Talk to me later, it'll be fine. And Joe turns back to the camera with a beatific smile. Oh, I loved it. It was like perfect.
Yeah,
this is double smiles for this one.
Double smiles. It makes you think, it's like, is Joe gonna want Cameron to join him, or will that be the next person that he goes up against? Cameron Grimes, they've been doing really well with Cameron Grimes. It's weird that he only had the North American.
Brilliant. I'm telling you, that shirt is tailored because it's not too small. It's tailored tightly to that arm.
His shirt is absolutely tailored. Oh my gosh! And you can tell
still
with the
frame is
area too.
steamy.
Ooh.
Yeah. I mean, when I recommend tailoring, I don't recommend it necessarily that tight.
Yeah. So Cameron Grimes. No, it's okay. No. Cameron Grimes, they've been doing really well with him. He's been like a really top babyface, but then he wins, then immediately loses the North American title. He gets a shot at the NXT title, loses that. This is feeling like a slow heel turn, but I'm interested, maybe not. Like, it's very interesting. They could either go through a slow heel turn here, or they can keep him on the face side. I'm trying to think. I feel like they have a lot of men's heels. So, and he's one of their top baby faces, but this does feel like he's breaking down. So, I'm just excited to see where it goes. I am a fan of both Cameron and Joe Gacy. So,
well, could it be a battle for his soul, where Cameron's trying to stay on the good side, and Joe's saying, "Come over to the pillars of inclusion and acceptance, and change your eye color." And it's a spiritual wrestling, which could be really interesting.
I agree.
Or maybe this is just a moment where maybe we'll start to get Joe Gacy having more of these moments with other people. Cameron Grimes is a phenomenal character to have in a feud and to have opposite of someone else. I don't know what direction they're going, but I hope that these two stay together, because there's I've always felt not even uncomfortable is not the word with Joe Gacy, but just like, oh, this is strange what they're doing, and I don't know who wrote this, and it's probably someone who's super questionable. But I don't know. I guess like the Cameron Grimes character and the Joe Gacy character almost exist in like two completely different universes, doing two completely different things, and I don't know how Cameron Grimes feels about safe spaces. Let's just expose people's like political, social beliefs.
Let's not do that.
Yeah, let's go there. Let's have it be about that.
That's funny.
It's like, I don't like safe spaces. Like, that's his thing.
Oh, that was good. Yeah, I love this. I love this storyline. Like, NXT is so funny to me, because it used to be a place where I enjoyed the women, but the men's storylines for me, and we'll definitely get into it, have been like carrying NXT, which is weird. So next up, Sarah.
Oh, I love this. We are at a place called Cut Whiz.
Yes, a barbershop.
Is a barbershop.
Yes.
And we have Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams.
Yeah.
And Trick is wearing a Mrs. Rosa Parks t-shirt.
Ooh.
Which is wonderful.
We do love Rosa Parks on this podcast.
Well, yes.
I assume.
Come on.
I haven't talked about her yet.
Yes, check with Murray, but I'm for. But Trick apparently was with two ladies. One lady was called Mercedes, and one lady was called Lexus. But Mercedes drove a Lexus and Lexus drove a Mercedes, so he got them mixed up, which is ungentlemanly. So he's living in the Meloverse, and Carmelo notes that when you're on the top, like I am, you don't see below or behind you.
Yes.
And the word play, but it's like singing, it's like poetry. I mean, it has such ease and such joy, such playfulness. And then they have two other friends off to the side who are like really enjoying their byplay. All I can say is what a charming and fun time these pals are having at the barbershop.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it too. And I felt like I was sometimes with that quick fire backwards and forwards, you feel a bit like outside it. You go, oh, I can sort of admire it stylistically, but I'm not there. But I felt really included. Just talk about pillars of inclusion. Yes. I felt like the byplay and the joy and the playfulness was definitely between these two friends. But I think because we had the pals off to the side, we felt like we were another pal sitting in on the play there.
We are.
So I thought it was charming.
Yeah.
I don't know who any of these people are, but I love them.
Yeah, they're kind of like they're other members of like the PC, which is the Performance Center. So they're like wrestlers who they might be wrestlers or backstagers who haven't like debuted yet. So they're there to kind of give the aura of a barbershop. And I just need to talk about this real quick because I love this segment. It's kind of in reference to LeBron James's show, like the shop that's on like I think it's either on Showtime or HBO. But like in that show, LeBron brings on like celebrity friends. They all sit around just like this and they talk about like events and news and things that are happening. And this is what Trick and Melo did. They literally like gave you the rundown of what's been going on NXT. Really, if you haven't been paying attention, I was like, this is perfect for me. It's very I don't know what the equivalent is in like stage production and like in certain plays, Sarah, but it's very like it's Statler. It's like Statler and Waldorf in like Muppet Babies, you know. But it's done in such a way that it with so much reverence and like you said, like the way they're talking and it flows. It feels like this is them. And as an African American in this, you know, in this country, the barbershop is, you know, uniquely known where men go to get together and talk. You know, some barbershop spaces can be problematic.
Well, yeah, and just to even add to that, it's like, especially in a country where Black men don't necessarily have, there's not always the best representation or the best opportunities for us to connect. That is a place for just that authentic connection. Often Black man to Black man and brotherhood and all those other concepts that I'm sure are relatable to people. And so, yes, it is. They are. And it's interesting, actually. I do think like the fact that they have like, and maybe they've done this before, but like having even women in the shop is interesting. Where I'm like, oh, okay, that's not a thing that you always see in barber shops. But
well, now you know they might have a woman like a braider and stuff like that now. Like because I used to go to the barbershop with my I used to take my brother to the barbershop and stuff like that. But you know it's always a good space for Black men, like you said. So it can be a little choppy, but it is basically I just appreciate the African American experience being displayed on the show in a way that like Matt said, this is really good representation and it feels authentic and it just shows you like Black characters can be perceived differently and can be presented in such a way that it's not always either dancing, aka shucking and jiving, or being criminals or you know or mean and stuff like that. You know,
and then
there's such joy and the wonderful moment where Trick pulls off his hat. I think it's going to be his turn at the barbershop, and everybody goes. Pulls back in horror,
right?
And he says, what's wrong?" And they go, "No, it's fine," and they're all very supportive of his apparently absolutely dreadful hair. I thought it was all right. But
I mean, he knew he had the hat on. He knew that was the one thing. There. I was gonna say that's the one exactly. That's the one piece that wasn't authentic. Shout out to Young's World of Beauty in West Orange or in Montclair, New Jersey. I love that barbershop. Good barbershop. Any other barbershop shout outs? Okay, great. But yeah, I think that the thing that was interesting about this is like you both touched on this, but Sarah, you were just touching on this too. The joy too, where like it can be authentic to Black experiences, but not just telling that narrow portrayal of them. And this is a lot of fun. I mean, I guess I'm glad that they don't do these more. I'm glad that they do them as frequently as they do. I feel like we get a barbershop segment every, couple of months maybe from them. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not overdone. It doesn't feel overdone. So it feels so nice. Like, because last week what they showed the clips, but it was the Melobration. And normally they have like a celebration for a win. It's normally like in the ring, but they showed them they went out with the women, they were partying on a rooftop. It's just it's very funny.
Mercedes and Lexus, shout out to them. I was like, this is such a dad joke, but the delivery was not only of that comment, but of everything, especially by Trick Williams.
Trick is so good.
Was so great, but just his facial expressions, like beyond what he's saying and how he delivers it, just watching his face and everything else. Trick Williams is really kind of like the second to Carmelo Hayes. And so the fact that, like, even just watching this segment, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, Trick is just shining here.
Yeah.
I don't know how his ring work compares to Carmelo Hayes, but outside of the ring, I feel like on the mic and otherwise, Carmelo's no slouch, but Trick Williams maybe exceeds Carmelo, and I don't know. I don't think he's really had that chance to fully shine, but
they're a great duo. They're a great duo. Carmelo being the champion and Trick being his hype man. It's such a good pairing. Like, please do not break them up prematurely, because WWE loves to break up people prematurely. Trick Williams is really green. I forget what his background is in. He came over from some sport. I think it might have been basketball, but I'm not sure. So Trick is really he's like so surprisingly good on the mic. He's been so good on the mic basically since he stepped in the building, but we haven't seen him really wrestle like that. Like when him and Carmelo tag, it's rare, and mostly Carmelo does most of it. The match that he was supposed to have against Wesley at Great American Bash, they showed in the clips, he used like rubbing alcohol and rubbed it in Wes's eyes to get the quick pin.
Rude.
So we truly have not seen him like in the ring. So it'll be interesting when he really does go out and go like full blast, what we get. But honestly, this dynamic right now, like sitting back, learning, working on the mic while still getting your reps in the performance center, is such a great dynamic that honestly Carmelo and Trick need to be like, they need to stay on this hill, like down here for a while, I'm thinking. Like and I can't wait to see them do this when like Carmelo eventually takes the top prize, the NXT championship, because honestly, if y'all haven't noticed, we don't talk about Braun Breaker that much, just because he's just not a compelling champion to me, like, which is weird because I thought he was the standout when NXT 2.0 first started, and I think he's a good character. I like his mic work. I think he's great in ring, but nothing about his feuds have pulled me to him. So when they say when they say Carmelo is the A champion, I truly feel like that they're not lying when they say that. All right, so let's take a quick break before we get into the final clips here for the casual ratings. We'll be right back. Sarah, let's talk Diamond Mine.
Oh, boo.
Okay.
What did they do?
We're just gruff yelling, take off that stupid hat and take a good look at yourself. And there's a blonde side braid girl. She's shook by all this. I don't know. I just think, particularly coming immediately after Melo and Trick, who have that energy, who have that building themselves up, but they're not. It's like, oh, guys, please. I know they're not actors, but they are performers, and there was an authenticity that I felt was missing here. And blonde side braid, who later turns out to be called Mackenzie, because of course she's called Mackenzie, is the kind
reporter.
of wide-eyed at all this. You say you're the strongest family in the NXT, but we're the strongest family in the NXT. I understand the structure, but I feel like this is not well done, because then when we go to Tony D'Angelo and his crew, who are going to finish Diamond Mine, Mackenzie, as we now find out she's there.
Yes.
The smoothness of the calling out that Tony D'Angelo does. Oh, they don't even get along. He calls them fugazi.
Yeah. He calls them like he sees it.
He calls them like he sees them. So there's still this dangerous, hyper-masculine bragging and putting down of the other group. But it's done in a much more... It's more powerful for not just being... And the fact that he speaks and his three friends just stand brutishly behind him, I found much more effective. I found Diamond Mine weak. I think that gruff yelling makes you seem weak. It's, again, that overcompensation. And wedged, as I watched it in this order, wedged between the authentic joy of the barbershop or the real menace of this calm disgust that Tony D'Angelo had. It said so much more. So two frowny faces for Diamond Mine and a neutral, slight smile for Tony D'Angelo.
Yeah, and a lot of it I felt like that is such an insightful contrast, because with Diamond Mine, I did feel like why are you yelling at me? Like, why are you why are you yelling? Like, what's going? You don't. Their ethos was not giving us upset and angry along the way. It felt very forced, and when someone's pushing to be angry, like if a child is trying to throw a tantrum or trying to be upset when they're not even as upset, but they know that that's how they might get their way. Like, that's what this felt like, except it just felt like an actor pushing too much, like bigger. Whereas with Tony D'Angelo, it was so natural. And it's interesting because especially with Tony's group, I mean, it keeps evolving because he had someone else who was in the group whose name I don't remember, who is gone. They partnered with there's been a lot of moving parts shifting, exactly, with Legado del Fantasma and the tag team that were in there. And so they're not even like an established group.
He's the Don.
But he's the Don, and he's able to like bring it together on the mic. He's just a natural. I mean, it helps probably too that he's just standing there talking, because that's his strength as opposed to a strength.
Yes, I mean, how much more effective is it to say, they don't bother me? Then to go, you say you're stronger, but we're the stronger. How dare you say that about us? And then Tony just comes in and goes, they don't bother me. They're not that good.
He said, he said, y'all not used to the streets, fighting in the streets. You fugazi.
That's right.
So Tony D'Angelo is like the Don of NXT. Like, it's really interesting. He's basically like it was like Legado del Fantasma, which kind of represented the cartel, and then Tony D'Angelo and his group, the family, that represented like the mafia. They went one-on-one, and Legado's people ended up joining him. I think he ousted Escobar, Santos Escobar. As their leader, and now he has a family, and he's the Don of NXT. And so I'm not gonna lie, I didn't mind the yelling from the Creed brothers, mostly because the Creed brothers are normally like very low-keel. They normally just stand there and they don't talk. They were used to not talking because they had a great manager in and now his name is Stokely on AEW.
Right. Malcolm Bivens.
Malcolm Bivens, yes. Back in the day, Malcolm Bivens was a really good manager for them, but now they're gone. He's gone. So now they have to step up and on the mic. And I can agree. I can see like it was over the top, but the way that the Creed brothers are, they're that old school style tag team where it's really just nothing but wrestling, very old school. And this was like a quintessential old school WCW WWE promo. Matt, let me know what you think here, but like that's what those promos used to be. They used to be standing in the back. They used to have the mic. It used to be Gorilla Monsoon or Terry Funk, or did I say that right? Anyways, it used to be somebody in the back. Terry Finkel?
Wait, holding them, Howard Finkel.
Yeah, holding Howard Finkel. There it is.
Is a deathmatch.
It's a wrestler. Yeah,
he's like probably bleeding somewhere right now.
You know what I mean? But they'd be holding the mic, and then and then the people in the back would just be yelling, and then I'm like, you're not gonna come for me, brother. Like that's literally like old school promo telling. So that's why like I appreciated it for what it was, but we also got the tension between Roderick Strong's like, we're the strongest family, and then Kemp tried to say something, he's like, shh, shh, shh. There already was tension. They had a match earlier in that night, so it was just like I thought it all worked together, but I can definitely see how it could seem like this is developmental. So it's not, some people aren't as smooth as like Trick or Tony. So I completely get that.
Look, I think they can be yellers, but they need to find more light and shade and more authenticity. It's not that they have to be smooth like Trick. It's not that they have to be quietly menacing like Tony. They can be shouting in, but find authenticity. I mean, that's the great thing about wrestling is it's authenticity is where it really shines, because these are really people really wrestling, really grappling with each other, really flying through the air, really slamming down. And then when you get the storylines, you believe that they're real, going all the way back to Damian Priest saying, we are going to do, like, it's very over the top, but he was like, you will join us, you will join us. And he stuck to that kind of, he played his action, as we say in the theater.
Exactly.
And it's interesting because there's like, we always want to suspend disbelief and get on board with whatever they're saying, and so that's this is kind of one of the moments where it's like, okay, I want to believe. I think they're probably super calm outside of the ring and maybe really low key and maybe even introverts. Like that's the energy I got even as they were yelling at us.
They could do then they need to do low key yelling. They need to find their version of what these other people have found there. And if it's their first time and they're just trying it out, they'll develop.
Yes.
So let's move on to the women, Sarah. What did you think of the women here?
Oh, boo.
NXT.
Ooh.
Cora Jade claims their friendship with Roxanne Perez was a lie. Kind of the only interesting thing, those hair extensions have to, she needs a bitch. She needs to go to Cut Wiz and get better extensions.
That's hilarious.
But Cora Jade calls her the B word.
Those platform sneakers are nice.
I like the platform sneakers. her outfit is blah. When she calls her the B word, the audience is shocked. We get many vision of shocked audience members. I don't know, like the words were great. She's in her own delusional world. I attacked her in the parking lot. This marks the end of poor naive Jade and the beginning of true generation Jade, and she gets booed and she puts the belt in the garbage bin. But it was all very floppy, compared to Bianca and Becky and Carmella, who we spoke about at the beginning. Where's the true fire? It was like, yeah, I'm really good, and then she did that to me, so I attacked her in the parking lot, and you know what? I'm going to win, and this belt doesn't mean anything because she lied to me, and it was our friendship. I mean, it's like, girl, get some spark. Yeah. So the storyline is good. The lines are good. I mean, I know that they're not wrote lines, but I'm sure they have ideas about what they're going to say. But she just didn't have, you used this word earlier, Mari, star power, and she just doesn't have it. And I'm not sure. I'm not sure how I'm supposed to relate to her because of it. Can you throw some insight onto who Cora Jade is and stop me from talking down a woman?
Yeah, and no. Yeah, just to start her out too. We were talking about her a bit last week, just in terms of her, not only her character but the performer. And Cora Jade, I think we were saying is 20 years old or 21 years old, somewhere in that. Just which I think gives context as a performer to the I don't know, kind of the life experience that the performer is bringing to their role and to the performance. Yeah, and we talked quite a bit about that. But she used to be a kind of a punk rock character. She had a mini skateboard that she would carry around as a fan favorite. People cheered her and loved her. And then last week, she turned on her tag team partner, Roxanne Perez, and hit her with the skateboard, or tried to hit her with the skateboard. It took her out and it turned her back on her. And now she's explaining why she turned on her, obviously, her former tag team championship partner. And so, yeah, a lot is happening very quickly with Cora Jade and Roxanne, from winning the tag team championships just a few weeks ago, to them kind of breaking up last week, to them now really breaking up, with Cora throwing the championship in the trash. Mari?
Yeah, the reason why it can come off like weird and inauthentic is because this is the first time we've seen Cora Jade as a heel, and we'll have to see, because before this she was like a mega baby face, and she was over, and she was showing glimpses of being the next big thing. And that's kind of the funny thing of the storyline, because that's where it was going. She's going to be the next big thing. Then Roxanne Perez comes in, and now she's the next big thing. And then that's how we get this jealousy storyline, which is kind of old as time, especially when they put it on the women. So we get a heel turn for Cora Jade, and you know, it was not good, but we're gonna give her grace because it's like her first week.
Okay, but it was like her heart wasn't in it at all.
Yeah, exactly.
It was like there was no part of her that either believed it or could imagine, you know, Roxanne as somebody else who's ever wronged her, and even just some vocal spark. Now, I don't want yelling, but it was like, oh yeah, and then this and that. So I'm going to give Cora Jade a frowny face. However, I take your point. I support her developing into this character, and you know, I'd love to see her as a punk, because this kind of strange black shapeless jumpsuit wasn't doing it. The sneakers are very cute, though. I would have those.
Yeah.
I would wear those.
I was literally, I opened up a tab.
Yeah. At least I'm waiting till after the podcast to open up a tab.
Send her a tweet and ask. Just send her a tweet and ask where they are, or where you can.
Your performance was horrible, but your shoe is cute.
Yeah. Matt, pull the picture up again. I want to make sure I have the right ones here.
Oh, of the shoes?
Of Cora Jade.
They're going to become the
Jade of the shoes.
They're going to become the official footwear of crime scene.
Yeah. Exactly.
Footwear of crime. Sorry, I was too busy looking at this trash can that is full of random stuff. But
they're set decorated.
They're they look. They're
those are Chuck Taylors. I have the Vans. Yeah, I have the Vans on here. Anyway,
star on them.
Yeah, I like that with the chunky sole. Yeah.
What? Okay. As a side note, beyond the shoot, what is this trash can? Who had a plate? So okay, there's like a cheddar biscuit wrapper in there. There's a plate that's
we do not have time for this.
There's some chips. I don't know what. Like, I'm just like, who smuggled in a full plate into the arena? Like, come on.
Oh, it's set dressing. It's set dressing.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go to the final segment here. It was on SmackDown. Again, guys, SmackDown was very, very run of the mill. So I said, there wasn't much. Shout out to Alicia in the Job Has a Squadcast group. She was at SmackDown. She asked us if she could any pictures that we wanted. Shout out to her. Sorry that it wasn't that great of a show. But we got no Roman. Liv stayed in the back just on the Jumbotron with Ronda. Like, the only kind of cool moment for SmackDown for me was like Sheamus and Drew are going to be in a shillelagh match or something like that. It's going to be like,
yeah, that's
it's a Donnybrook. It's called Old Fashioned Donnybrook. Yeah, but I think people were saying it's just a shillelagh match. And then Shinsuke fought Ludwig. I love Shinsuke Nakamura. Can't wait to see him versus Gunther. But other than that, SmackDown was meh. So let's get into this final segment here.
Segment.
The Maximum Male Models are back, and they brought somebody along with them. Sarah?
Yes. Yeah, tell us all about what's going on.
She's going to titillate the juices of your guilty pleasure.
That's a lot.
Well, it's a lot, but it also doesn't mean anything. Titillate. So you titillate in order to produce juices. You can't titillate the juices, you titillate the person, and then the person produces some juices, right?
Yes.
Also, I don't believe in guilty pleasure. There's pleasure. That's it. No guilt. So I took again Maxxine Dupri.
Don't kink shame.
I'm not kink shaming. No.
Oh no, you're not. You're not.
No.
Just the people.
I didn't understand it. I thought, is there something here that I'm missing? Because it was very strange, and she just had this word salad that she was carrying on about something or other. So I love the models. The one on the right of the screen, you really need to go to YouTube and see this. He has the most marvelous hairdo. And the one on the left, and they're looking at each other like they can't quite believe where they are.
You mean what sense do you mean that in? Do you mean that in the sense that they don't know where they don't believe where they? Yeah, I'm wondering.
They're looking at each other in solidarity, saying,
"Are they questioning things?"
They're questioning. They're like, "Just get through this bit. Just get through this bit."
No, they're aloof, sexy male models.
Oh, they are aloof, sexy male models.
Yeah,
but they're also like looking at each other like, "Oh, just hang tight." and then we'll go and get a cocktail.
There you go. Yes.
So Maxxine Dupri, spelt incorrectly, has a beachwear collection. How beachwear fits in with wrestling, I don't know. I would love to see a whole lot of people dressed in beachwear, little toweling shorts, wrestling. I think that could be quite cute. But I wondered why she was so serious about it. Why she was almost threatening me with her beachwear. Anyway, I'm sure you can. I couldn't even rate it. I'm sure you can illuminate this a little bit for me, Murray, please.
Yeah. The Maximum Male Models were a huge hit with Dr. Amanda and Ariel. They did have more to work with because Marseille and Monsoir actually walked the runway for them. So we'll send you, after this, we'll send you some clips of them walking the runway. But basically, it was a group that was put together by Max Dupri, aka formerly LA Knight. And for the past couple weeks, we've been getting them coming. They showed he first introduced them, and they did a catwalk. And the one on the right, his name was formerly Mace, but now his name is Marseille. The one on the left's name formerly was Mansour. Now it's Monsoir.
Yes.
And they came out they previewed the tennis collection the other week when Wimbledon was happening. And Maxxine
oh, that's
Dupri,
why they did it.
Yeah, they referenced it.
Yeah.
Smart. Maxxine Dupri is the sister of Max Dupri, the CEO of Maximum Male Models. So they introduced her today. So I guess the both of them will be managing the two models, and it's a new gimmick. They have not wrestled yet. We don't know. Like Mace was formerly a part of Retribution. Mansour. Right. I'm using their old names here. Mansour was in a tag team with Ali a while back. So we haven't seen them. This is their new package. We haven't seen them in the ring yet. So I'm very interested to see if they change any of their move sets to fit their characters. But this is a return to this is giving me very much Fashion Police vibes. You know, it's that Zoolander style.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I love the models.
Oh yeah,
it's just her. I have no love for.
Yes. Wow, are you trying to replace her and to
absolutely?
You see them?
Absolutely.
I was gonna say,
I wouldn't say titillate the juices of your guilty pleasure, which is really dumb.
That's been their tagline. Yeah,
it's just way too long.
So
like
funny.
we probably couldn't even
too
make
long,
that an episode
and it also
title.
doesn't make sense. It just doesn't.
I love it.
It's
so funny. I don't know. I love it. I love this Zoolander style humor. It's hilarious to me. It makes absolutely no sense. But Maxxine Dupri, for those who are wondering, that's Sophia Cromwell. She's the first. They're saying she's the first NXT 2.0 call up. Technically, she was formerly with the Robert Stone brand, I believe, but she didn't get much reps on NXT 2.0 to my knowledge. She is. I don't remember her. Yeah, so she is a call up. She's like young, 25 years old. I don't think she has any prior like experience like outside of WWE.
25. I'm sorry, she looks 35. Whoever's doing her
makeup
and her. See, look, she looks lovely there.
Yeah.
Yes,
she does look very different.
That's NXT. Yeah.
This was 2 months ago. Wow.
That was 2 months ago. Wow.
Yeah. Her esthetician has been too liberal with the Botox, and it just makes the young girls look older. You know,
very true.
The lip filler, the Botox, they don't need it. But
maybe that's like what she's going for. Like she said, I
like
am
the model,
like method. Maybe she's like I'm the modeling, she's the director of talent of Maximum Male Models. So she's trying to
director of talent,
to give her credit. So I don't know. We'll see. I think that's what she's really going for.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm so excited about Maximum Male Models though. Like they're just like a bright spot. Again, wrestling can be fun, you know. Some people don't like fun wrestling. I like fun wrestling.
I like fun wrestling.
Yeah. So we're talking to the hardcores out there. So
I don't like fun wrestling.
Hey,
that's it for casual ratings with Sarah Carradine. Sarah, what would you say was your favorite storyline overall?
Well, I like my favorite scene was in the Cut Whiz, but my favorite storyline was the Dyad, was the Joe Gacy inclusion representation, Charles Manson.
Love it. Love it. All right, so let's get to our plugs. Sarah, what are you plugging?
I'm going to plug Crime Scene. You may have heard of it. It's the True Crime Review podcast where we get to the heart of how true crime stories are told. I do that with the great Murray Forth. And Murray and I are just doing some lovely, interesting bonus content for subscribers to the crime feed, which we call Inside Job, which is conversations with people who have jobs that are close to justice, crime, the law. There's 2 episodes out. One's called The Criminal, one dropped today called The Jury, and next week will be the fascinating The Crime Scene Investigator. He won't tell us what agency he works for, and we can only use his first name, so we're really looking forward to that one. Hey, Murray.
Yes, we are.
And the other thing I'm doing is I'm writing recaps for Survivor South Africa, Return of the Outcasts, which has just started this week. And so you can read those on Inside Survivor.
Yeah.
Great. Matt, how about you? What's going on?
Wow. Thanks for asking. I wasn't expecting it. So, you could find me at Matt Scott GW for the updates on what I'm up to, where I will be on Crime Scene soon with the one and only. I don't know if anyone here's heard of them, but
the two and only
Mari, Sarah, they're doing things. You just listen to Sarah. Go back about 30 seconds and do everything she said in the plugs. Loved being part of will love being part of. I don't know if we're supposed to pretend that we didn't record it or not, but
it's already recorded. It's already recorded. Awesome. It drops this week.
It drops this week. Yes.
So
that's
give them a little taste of what we talked about.
We talked about Gladbeck on Netflix, which I don't want to spoil how we felt about it, but very interesting documentary. I'd encourage you to check it out because you are getting like just the real-time footage, not commentary. Things are in order as opposed to some other properties you've covered lately, which I've enjoyed listening to about on your podcast. But where else you could find me other than the Wrestling RHAPUp, of course, is Pod Friends each week talking with people in this RHAP community. Those come out each and every Sunday. So again, best place to check that out and subscribe, other than going to robhasawebsite.com/podfriendsfeed, is just to go to Matt Scott GW on social media. Follow me, check out the link in my bio. And then the other thing I'd want to plug right now is that I am part of Survivor Philadelphia, a live reality game that we actually filmed last year. So it's been a minute. The first episode came out on Tuesday last week. So you could see, was I the first one voted out? Was I not the first one voted out? Is Mari still able to stand me after this week? Who knows? Check that out. So you could find Survivor Philadelphia Head vs. Heart on YouTube. There are a couple podcasts covering it, which is very cool. And yeah, again, Matt Scott GW. And Mari, where could the people find you other than Mari talks too much to like the number 2? Tell them.
Well, every week, Wrestling RHAPUp, check. Every week, Crime Scene with Sarah Carradine, check.
Yes, we love it.
Also, like if you follow me on Twitter, like Matt said, I am doing BB24 coverage. At this point, it might be against my will.
I was gonna say same, but it's like, let's just not acknowledge it.
I will be up. I know I'll be on the upcoming like special 2-hour episode. So I think that'll be tomorrow or today, whenever this drops. And then just follow me on there, and I'll post every time I do live feed updates, do the recap, stuff like that. And like Matt said, please go listen to us on Crime Scene. We want you to subscribe. Go to robhasawebsite.com/crime feed. If you're not subscribed to us here on Wrestling, robhasawebsite.com/wrestling. Make sure you're subscribed to both of those podcasts so that you could share us with, so we can be bumped up and people can see us.
Yeah, please.
Yeah. Other than that, feel free to send us any long-form questions to wrestling@robhasawebsite.com. Follow us on Twitter @WrestlingRHAPUp on Twitter. Tweet us using #WrestlingRHAPUp, and make sure you tag both me and Matt @MattScottGW on Twitter, @Mari Talks Too Much, like the number 2 on Twitter. And that's it. We'll see you next week. Remember, wrestling is for everybody, but not all wrestling is for everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Throw 'em up, lay it down just like Matt and Mari. Wrestling RHAPUp's gonna make it sorry. Feeling like The Rock cause I'm driving in Ferraris. And we coming every week and it's feeling like a party. Moolah Ric Flair, showing out like Bianca Belair, Best podcast, flush it in the air, Roman Reigns and we win it, don't care, No cap. Throw 'em up, lay it down just like Matt and Mari. Wrestling RHAPUp's gonna make it sorry. Feeling like The Rock cause I'm driving in Ferraris. And we coming every week and it's feeling like a party.